Welcome back to another edition of The Shift, where we're back with another business owner that's going to be shedding some light on what he does in the business community, learning a little bit about his story, how he got started as an entrepreneur, what his core services are, what is his principles around when we talk about shifting from one place in our life, personally, professionally, and in our business. How do we make those pivotal shifts, right? How do we leave from one season of our life to another? How do we grow our business from one season to the next? Well, we have Mr. Anthony Hunter with us to shed some light on his perspective on those topics. And for those of you that may just be hearing for the first time, yes, we have a conference coming up. It's the Unlock 2026 Business Conference. It's all going down on Saturday, April the 18th. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be at the Maryland Center for History and Culture. But without further ado, I want to welcome our guest, Mr. Hunter. Welcome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, I definitely appreciate you being with us on today. I personally am waiting with great anticipation of the jewels that you're going to share. But first, before we get into what you're doing now, take us back through the time period of when you first launched out as an entrepreneur. What was that thing that lit a fire under you to want to go down that path?
I think it was right after college. I had dropped out for a minute. I was I'm a track and field guy, so I've been a runner all my life,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and I pretty much have graduated from track and field to running marathons at this stage in my life. So I already have about 18 marathons under my belt.
Mm-hmm.
But I dropped out of school. I'm out of college. Basically, I was going to New Mexico State, and I wanted to train for the Olympics, but I didn't make it. Qualified, but I didn't make it. And I'm home watching the Olympics, and I'm seeing guys that I beat in college at the Olympics. That was a little frustrating for me, but I said, you know what, I got to keep on going. I started working part time in a retail job. And then I graduated to full time. I was a manager there at a office supply store. And one thing that had always bothered me, even when I was working as an employee, is being told what to do. And not that I have a problem taking instruction, but normally the way people tell you how to do things, it's kind of an overbearing type of situation, and you have a funny feeling about it. When I came up with good ideas on the job, I would never get the credit for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I would give somebody a good idea, and the manager would run with that idea, and the company does better. But I never got the credit for it, so it kind of frustrated me. So start thinking, I need to do my own thing. I need to do my own thing. I started working with I have an older brother who designs and manufactures jewelry. So I said, let me work with him. You know, I'm always interested in work with black business. Of course, my brother's a black person. I'm a black person with black business. So I started out learning how to cut diamonds here in DC,
Mm-hmm.
and it was fun for a minute, but the cash wasn't flowing. So I ended up getting another job at a office supply store, a company called Jacobs Gardner. I was a manager, the stock clerk, the accountant. Pretty much, I was a one stop shop, but it was a retail chain, and I ran into the same situation. I came with good ideas to help the company move forward, and I never got the credit for it. Well, at the end of my day working on a job, I had to call in my report. I normally called into another store, and this young lady introduced me to an opportunity where she just told me a little bit about the opportunity where people are making money. It's a black organization, a lot of people, and they're doing well. And I kept hearing bits and pieces of it. And then one day, one individual from the company she was talking about came into my store to actually try to recruit me into the business. At the time, I wasn't familiar with how multi-level operations worked, but she said some things that kind of pissed me off. So needless to say, I never joined their business. But my other coworker kept calling me and telling me about the. I didn't realize it was the same company. So my coworker kept telling me about this opportunity. So I finally came in, and of course I saw the person that was trying to recruit me, and I kind of smiled, right? And she was shocked that I was there. And I heard this gentleman speak, and his name was Charles Scott, and he primarily talked about changing the image of Black America. that was a start for me because I'm pro-black everything. I was very, very militant going up through college. I met Kwame Ture, Alex Hill, a whole bunch of people, and got a lot of jewels for these people. I had Dick Gregory, who I've met a while ago, and had him on my phone. And so I've always been pro-black centered everything. And as the gentleman was talking, we were at I can remember like it was yesterday, the Ramada Renaissance in Washington, D.C. And there had to be about 400 people in that room. And what was surprising to me was that they were all black. I mean, 400. And what was surprising was it wasn't church, it wasn't a party, and it wasn't a fight. It was a business meeting. And he said some things to me that I said, you know what? I don't care whether this is legal or not. I'm sticking with this guy because what he's saying is resonate with me. I lost my father at an early age, and I've always searched for somewhat a father figure, and he kind of embodied that in a 1 hour speech that he was given. And all he talked about was changing our image. He never talked about money. He never talked about the industry. Never talked about the business. He always talked about teaching the person how to teach a person how to teach a person how to teach, and that was recruiting. And he instilled in me that Matthew 7:12, do unto others what you'd have them do unto you.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that stuck with me is that if you want to get your life better, help somebody else. Now, fast forward, it's been that was in 1990, 91.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still that same individual because of the philosophy. During that time working with Mr. Scott, I met a gentleman by the name of Joe Dudley. Joe Dudley was huge in the hair care business. He became a mentor of mine as well. And I found out that his mentor was a gentleman by the name of S.B. Fuller. If you think about the Fuller brush, it's not that individual. It's another guy that started in the hair care industry. And he started with $25 because he wanted to find a way to help the average black person succeed in America. During his time, he was more than likely the richest black man in America.
Mm.
He did not believe that Martin Luther King should have boycotted the bus company. He said we should buy the bus company.
Mm.
Because of his and what he did with that $25, kind of interesting. He bought a company that was selling a product. Now it was a white company, and he had white employees, he had black employees, and he grew that business to multi-millions of dollars. And then he ran into a cash flow situation where he needed to raise additional capital. Because they found out that this was a black guy running a black company, all the white people pretty much left, and they tried to destroy his business. So black folks were prohibited from buying from him if they wanted to keep their jobs. This is stuff that's not written about. Get his book, S.B. Fuller. I think his daughter wrote the book. But that's pretty much my lineage in terms of entrepreneurship. Being in the business that I'm in now, going back as I backtrack, I didn't realize I was in the insurance business. I knew I went out and I got a license, but I was talking to people about benefits packages.
Mm-hmm.
So I became very, very versed on government employee benefits and things like that. Then I got to sometimes you get into an opportunity, you start making money, and you don't look at what it is you're actually doing. But sometimes you have to step back,
Mm-hmm.
to say, okay, I'm making this money, people are excited, but what am I actually doing? What is this?
Mm-hmm.
So I stepped back and I began reading the information that I was giving out to people. It's all about financial services.
Mm-hmm.
And so I realized that if I could help other people become financially stable, financially secure, and teach them to teach somebody else, then we have a generation of people that are helping people become financially secure. So our goal in the organization at the time it was called CSO North America. At the time, our goal, Mr. Scott's goal, was to create 100 African American millionaires. He's actually done it, even though our companies had a bunch of drama from the government. I work with individuals now that we've taken a company public. He would have been the first African American owner of a public company, publicly traded company. But the government does their thing, and so anytime we raise our head up, then there's somebody coming to take you out. Not to go into his own personal story, but he got in some very big trouble with the government, and it ended up with him getting a presidential pardon. It's much bigger than what I do. The gentleman that I've been following, I watched him go through trial and tribulation after trial after tribulation after trial after tribulation. I saw him maintain his posture. And one thing he instilled in us is don't lie, don't steal, don't cheat, and don't shade. Right? If you maintain those basic principles, which we all get when we're young, 2 and 3 years old, but somehow we get off of it. When he instilled that type of discipline in over 400 people, all young, average age at that time, I believe, was maybe 20, 22. You're talking people that are making six-figure incomes back in the early 70s. I'm sorry, yeah, late 70s, early 80s. Six-figure incomes, you're 20-some years old. You're driving around in fancy cars and things like that. So that's the philosophy that I came behind. I still work with Mr. Scott now under the Financial Crisis Prevention Center, but I have my own agency now. So I'm in financial services.
I see on your LinkedIn profile, your company is Anthony G. Hunter Agency LLC, and I see in your bio section it says most people don't fail in retirement because they don't save enough. You went on to say they fail because their income strategy was built on hope instead of certainty. And then you went on to talk about how you've been in the industry for 30 years, helping families, helping business owners. What would be some, I guess you can say, some teachable moments you can share with us of what you've seen over the past 30 years in the industry that you're in?
Well, one thing I realized is that I've never had anybody lose any money. And that comes down to having a structure. I'm what you may call a income architect. So I will build a plan that's designed not to fail. When an architect goes in and he makes a building, he's got to examine every single thing. I have a method now where I can look at your health and look at your finances and let you know exactly how you're going to end up at the end. Whether you're going to have a health issue before your money runs out, or if your money's going to run out before you have a health issue. And so I learned all these things through my training as an athlete and running. It requires discipline. And so what I'm able to do now is I can structure your finances in such a way that you won't run out of money. And then I'm gonna look at your health, and I'm gonna see what you're doing. Are you getting enough sleep? I put in the minimum of 30 minutes a day in some sort of exercise where you increase your heart rate. So we're in an age right now that we're all living longer. My mom now is 99 years old.
Wow, blessings to her.
Her brother's 94.
Longevity.
Right? And so most folks, what they do is they plan for the money, but they don't plan for the what if. She had her baby sister died from a stroke. The guy that whose organization I run with, he just died from a stroke. His name is Jeff Galloway. It's a marathoner. So if you don't maintain your health and you don't maintain your wealth, you're gonna at some point you're gonna run short. So I've created a system. I've actually trademarked it. It's called the Health and Wealth Continuum. And so there's a parallel between your health and your wealth, because your money may last you for 10 years after you retire. And in that 11th year, you may have a health situation, right? If you don't plan for that health situation, then you're going to run out of money in the 12th or 13th year. Okay. So I'm able to look at all aspects of your life and determine where you're falling short and where you need to shore up, so to speak, your programming.
Mm-hmm.
If it's changing your diet, if it's changing the way you think, if it's increasing your affirmations, it's all the entire system. But most financial advisors just focus on the money.
Mm-hmm.
They don't focus on you getting a stroke. They don't focus on what are things that can lead up to you having a stroke.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy right now, one of my mentors, friends, who's in the hospital. He did everything right, made good money, got all the cars and all those things, but he has a health situation that he can't get out of. He's going to die. Okay, if we can catch you before those things happen, and it all is all a part of your habits.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped eating red meat maybe maybe 10 years ago,
Okay.
right?
And
And I
how was
know,
that shift for you? Because that was a shift. How was that shift for you?
well, I watched my father who died. I think I was 9 when my father was killed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my father smoked. He's an army guy, but he
Mm-hmm.
smoked. And one day he said he just gonna stop smoking, and he just stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the time, I think my mom was still smoking, but it took her some time to do that. But he just said, "I'm gonna stop smoking," and he just stopped. So the next day, he never smoked again from that point on.
Okay.
So I said, "Well, if he can do that, it was just a decision.
A decision.
It was just a decision." So I said, "Okay." I've studied in school. I got a degree in psychology.
Mm-hmm.
I was pre-med prior to that, and I realized in college when I was studying these biology courses and health courses that most doctors don't study health and nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that was a disconnect
Mm-hmm.
because I remember doing an experiment in biology where we took some raw meat and put it in a beaker of sulfuric acid, which is basically what's in your stomach. And we
Mm-hmm.
looked at how long it took for that meat to break down.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you imagine just keep piling meat on after time, after time, after time, it's going to take a long time for that to build up. Your
Mm-hmm.
body's going to break it down, and because it's foreign to the body's going to store it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to store it in the form of cancers and cysts and pus and things like that. Most people don't fast. There's things you can do like intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
You know, don't eat at a certain time of day. It's a certain point of time in the day. Stop eating. Right.
But you're bringing up a lot of, I think, important topics. I even want to go back to the top because your whole life story has been a shift. I mean, this is what I'm hearing. You
Mm-hmm.
started out in track. Even in that, you had to learn how to shift, to pass the baton to your track mate and so forth. It was shifting even in that process. It was shifting in the regimen of your exercise that you had to go through to be ready for the track day, the track meet, right?
Absolutely.
Then
Absolutely.
you talked about you had a job cutting diamonds. I was taking notes as you were talking because everything I'm hearing you share, your life has been one of a shift. But
Right.
also, what I'm hearing as you share is that you've been adaptable to the shift.
Right.
I want you to talk about why being adaptable as a business owner is important when you're shifting and growing as a person and growing as a business, growing your company. Why is
Mhm.
adaptability important?
Well, because life is always moving. If you look at a something as simple as a mouse,
Mm-hmm.
although it's a solid object, it's actually moving.
Mm-hmm.
So if you remember back from biology, when you looked at things under a microscope, everything is moving.
Mm-hmm.
Life is constantly moving.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're not prepared for the next opportunity or the next shift, as we say,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be left behind.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we're in the age of AI, right?
Mm-hmm.
People are afraid of AI, but AI is just a tool to get you to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
So what you have to do is find an opportunity where, number one, you can grow, but you can help somebody else grow along with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important to focus on what you want. And the big key, I believe, in all of this is every day ask yourself, what does God want me to do today?
Right.
And then ask yourself, who does he want me to help today?
Mm-hmm.
And then how can I make the biggest impact with what God wants me to do?
100%, absolutely. And then you talked about cutting diamonds. What would you say was some of your teachable and learning moments from that job experience that we can connect to entrepreneurship in our journey?
It's very important to pay attention to the details.
Mm-hmm.
We were told this thing, the devil's in the details. No, that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
God is in the details.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Details are important. And if you don't pay attention, you're going to miss something. So when I was learning how to cut a diamond, the lady that was teaching me, she was actually from Japan.
Mm-hmm.
I'll spell her name, Tamiko Butler. And I used to tease her about her name because she married this black guy. Nice to tease her. How can you be Japanese
Mm-hmm.
and have a last name Butler? I mean, if you're Chinese, I know Lee. I understand that. Y'all do that thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I always tease about that. But one thing she told me, which was very important, she said, when you get information
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't sit right with you,
Mm-hmm.
just like on a computer, you can hit delete.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone says something negative, you just say cancel. Say cancel 3 times and you don't remember what they said.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That allows you to stay focused on what you're doing. So when I'm cutting a diamond has a lot of facets. And there's a method to cutting that diamond. You have to, there's a sequence in which you have to cut that diamond. If you allow yourself to get distracted from those facets from the diamond, you're going to mess the diamond up.
Mm-hmm.
And one little nick destroys the entire diamond. So you may have had a big diamond, and because you made a little nick, because you weren't paying attention, now you got to create something else.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very important to focus in on what you're doing and stay right there. I mean, people talk a lot about scrolling on the
Internet.
Yeah,
Social media.
And every now and then you'll find something that really catches your eye, and you'll focus on it for a minute, and then you get off of it because in your mind is too long.
Yeah.
Well, I learned in psychology that the average person can take in information for about 7 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, they don't hear a thing you say.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that's going back to the focus. Mm-hmm. How long can you focus on one thing
mm-hmm.
to get something done?
Mm-hmm.
People don't succeed because they're not focused. There's so many distractions going on, and you allow yourself to get off of that diamond, that little facet you had to cut, and now you got to start over and do something else. So you have people changing jobs and changing opportunities, but they don't remember their focus. You can have a goal to meet God at a specific time and place, but if you decide to go to the left as opposed to going to the right where he told you, you're not going to make it. That's why focusing is very important. So I'm able to adapt to different opportunities because things are always changing. One thing that has not changed is that our taxes are not going away.
Talk about it.
They're not going away. So when I focus on a person, if they get in business with me or get in business with whoever, find a way, number one, to cut your taxes. Because right now you're overpaying your taxes. And we're in a corrupt system, but it's a system we have to work with. We're in a bubble, right? And you have to use the tools of that bubble to make sure you prosper. So I try to move people towards entrepreneurship and getting your own business and do business with other people. Not necessarily try to compete, but to collaborate. Now I'm in the insurance business. I have my life and health license. I do a lot of annuities and that's the thing. I don't sell health insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So because I don't sell health insurance, if someone asks me for health insurance, I don't try to get a license. I don't try to find a company and try to sell health insurance.
Right.
I'm going to find somebody that sells health insurance, somebody that I can trust. Say, listen, I got somebody you look out for me, right? And we collaborate. I have friends that do property and casualty. I'm not trying to specialize in property casualty. I'm not trying to specialize in health insurance. Life insurance and annuities. That's my baby. I'm very good at that. I mean, I'll do disability and all that too. But anything outside of my realm, I don't want to do it because my goal is to do what Mr. Scott is doing, create millionaires. Right now, that doesn't mean you have to work with me. Excuse me. Doesn't mean you have to work with me. If I have something that can help you get to that point, then we're all going to be happy.
It's
Believe it or not,
building up the community.
building up the community and and be conscious of where your money's going.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote the group, and one of my partners texted out in the group. He found a black-owned running store.
A what store?
Running for people, runners.
Okay.
He's going to get all my business. Period. Right? I'm going to try to get over there today to do some business with him, because we don't support each other, which is why we don't have a problem. We have all these issues. If you can say, well, okay, I'm trying to get here to meet God. He wants me to help people. He wants me to help anybody I can, his children, right, so to speak. Now, I'm not going to, that doesn't mean I'm not going to overlook a white person or whoever, but we're in the most need right now. If you can see me helping another black person and it's making me get better, then you may want to do the same thing, right? And if we can collaborate and help each other make more money and channel our money back to where it needs to be, we're going to be better as a community. We're one thing I loved about Mr. Fuller, he used a term called masterism. I think back in the day, used to say a coon or whatever, right? People that do anything for the white guy just to get ahead, right? Why don't you try to do something for your own people, because it's going to push you a lot further. If everybody came to your conference, right, and then everybody that came to your conference came back and said, this is what I learned. I met this person that does X, Y, and Z, right? You need to check him out. And the way I work and the way I've been operating actually since last year, I have over 11,000 people on the LinkedIn. And I just got back, I just started thinking, I said, I build these databases, I make these connections, but I have 11,000 people that I've never talked to. And so what I started doing was I reach out to every single person that's on my list. You're going to get an email, you're going to get a text, you're going to get something from me, an introduction of who I am, and can we find a way to work together and do some business. I've met lawyers, I've met doctors, I even met a gentleman by the name of, I didn't meet him, I already knew him, Donahue Peoples. Donahue Peoples is the premier real estate guy in the country, black. And I met him over 30 years ago. And I'm going through my network, and he's already in my network. So I got very, very powerful people in my network that I have never communicated with. People that I can reach out with and build my business. So if we as a community would work with each other, we'll move a lot further.
No, I mean, I 100% agree, and kind of piggybacking on your point about LinkedIn, or any platform that one may be on, right? A lot of times we have a lot of these digital connections, but we've never had a live conversation. We've never met with them. So just like you, I'm very intentional. Every single week, I am reaching out to someone that's on my digital platform to transfer it into a warm conversation, meet up for coffee or what have you, because it's no point in having a lot of digital connections, but there's really no exchange taking place. An exchange, I'm not saying that I'm doing business with them, an exchange of conversation, an exchange of the minds. That's an exchange right there. So I agree. And I can, if that kind of segues way into the point about the conference. So thank you for talking about that. So Unlock 2026 Business Conference. I know we see here on the screen the puzzle pieces. Anyone that has seen my logo, a puzzle piece is an integral part of my branding, because I believe that we're all puzzle pieces interconnected together, and we're coming together as one. And that's what's going to happen on Saturday, April the 18th, 2026. What intrigued you about it? I know you registered for the conference. You're going to be there. What intrigued you to even want to be a part of it?
Well, the main thing is I want to connect with my people. I'm a wealth of information. And I mentioned Mr. Fuller. I mentioned Joe Dudley. I mentioned Charles Scott. These are very, very powerful mentors of mine. I never met S.B. Fuller, but his philosophy has trickled down. I mean, just think about this. Somebody starts a business with $25
Mm-hmm.
and built an empire
Wow.
just off of his philosophy.
That's
So
powerful.
I'm a part of that philosophy, and it's time for that word to get out.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to impress people on this information because we have so much power in our community.
Mm-hmm.
If we would just open our mouths and share it,
Yeah.
don't worry about the competition. The competition is healthy,
Mm-hmm.
but let's collaborate and
Yeah.
grow. We need to buy our own banks. I mean, we need more. We have a few. We need more.
Mm-hmm.
We need our own community, our own commerce, our own everything. Because the system as it is set up is not designed for us to make it.
Mm-hmm.
But we're thriving already.
Mm-hmm.
And
We're
we can
thriving.
grow.
We're thriving. And
We
we're
can
going to be
grow
thriving
more.
on April the 18th. And you're one of those puzzle pieces that's going to be there. And I'm really excited that you're going to be there because you bring a wealth of knowledge, but also you bring real life experiences as you have been developing within the entrepreneurial community. And I want to touch on something before we close out. You talk often about your mentor, and I think that's important. Having a mentor as you're growing as an entrepreneur is key. You said it was a turning point when you had entered into this conference, and you said it was like 400 people there. That was a turning point for you.
Mhm.
And then your mentor was continuing to pour into you. You talked about the $25, which I think is a pivotal point. You've stated that a couple of times, and I want us to hone in on that for an entrepreneur that might be listening, watching, or somebody might be sharing this episode. Start with what you have. That's what I'm hearing. Every time you talk about the 25, start with what you have and build on that, but have strategy around it. You talked about your health and your wellness is together as one. And I'm very interested in hearing more about that. And you sharing about your specific program that you said that you've already trademarked on the 18th, and share that information with the business owners that's going to be there. But
Mhm.
talk about the significance of mentorship. Talk about working with what you have and starting with what you have. And then also I want you to share how can people get connected with you.
Right. One thing that Mr. Fuller said, like I said, I'm quoting because I never met him. He said primarily the reason why Black people are not doing well is because we don't have anything that anybody wants.
Mm.
We don't have nothing to sell. So he was very big on direct to consumer sales,
Mm-hmm.
which is how he built his business. When I came into the organization CSO North America, I didn't have any money. I mean, I was working a job, but I didn't have any money.
Mm-hmm.
But I was excited about the opportunity to be able to help my people.
Mm-hmm.
That was the one thing that drove me, which is why I'm still with Mr. Scott, even through all the crap he's gone through, even the people that talk about him. When you can work with somebody firsthand and see exactly what they go through, and their words land true on your ears, and you watch those words test through the test of time, remain true for 30 some years, you're not going to doubt anything the person says.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to have a mentor, somebody that is going to say what he means
Mm-hmm.
and mean what he says,
Mm-hmm.
no matter how hard it may come at you.
Yeah.
Right. Because you have your own eyes, you can observe what that person is doing. Because he
Mm-hmm.
say one thing and do another.
Mm-hmm.
So when I came into the business, I didn't have any money, but I was working a job. But of course, I was like most people. I was working paycheck to paycheck. I knew I had to take a insurance test. So I saved a little bit of money for the insurance test. But what was interesting about my opportunity when I got into the business, back in the day when I got started with insurance, I could go out with a licensed person. I could essentially do the presentation. They can't get me now. I can do it now. They essentially you can do the presentation. When I say they can't get me, I'm talking about the regulators. 30 years ago. Back in the day, we would take a new person and take them in the field and train them. Right. And so I learned my craft because I was a person who liked to pay attention. I learned the presentation forwards and backwards. Well, I could say the presentation verbatim with my eyes closed. Right. And so the person that would go out with me had a license. I would do the presentation, they would do the paperwork, and he would pay me. I would get a cut, right? And so that's how I earned my money to get my license, right? So
Yeah, no, go ahead and finish.
No.
What I'm getting from you though, not only start with what you have, but also what I'm hearing from you is that you have to become a steward of the industry you're in. Don't just be in it. You
Right.
said you used the word details a couple times. Even when you was talking about your job experience when you were cutting diamonds, you used the word details. You're using the word details now. Even when you were in the beginning phases of the industry and you were going through your training, you was paying attention to the details. When we're building a business, paying attention, understanding your industry, becoming a steward, becoming a student, and I don't think that ever ends, really, becoming a
Right.
student of the industry you're in. And I think sometimes you talked about competition earlier. There's always going to be competition, but in order to stay on the cutting edge, you have to remain a student of the industry that you say you're building in. I
Right.
know that's one thing that I'm very conscious about is as we're building strategic collaboration network, as we're building out our different wings of the company, different departments of the company, we have to remain a student. I have to remain a student. And
Mhm.
so I think what you're saying is pivotal. It's so many things that you've shared that I know I've been taking notes. And as we do this podcast show, I always encourage people as they listen, replay it, take down the notes, because there's things that you've been sharing that we can glean from and grow from.
Mhm.
How can an individual get connected with you?
I am on social media, LinkedIn. I'm Anthony. I think Anthony Gerard Hunter on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Same thing on Facebook, Anthony Gerard Hunter. On Instagram, you're probably going to get confused because my daughter grabbed my phone and she's been on Instagram under my name. So you'll see my name on there, but you'll see my daughter with all these TikTok. It was TikTok, all these TikTok stuffs on there. Since she was little, now she's 11 now, but she's about my height.
But your dominant one, LinkedIn, again, that's under your name, Anthony G. Hunter, right?
Correct. And I'm also on Instagram under DC Strider.
Okay, that's powerful. Last question. What are your expectations from Unlock 2026 Business Conference?
I want to, I do expect to create at least 15, 20 connections. 15, 20 people that I can do business with, 15 to 20 people that I can help grow their business. And then see how we can blow it up for the following year.
Awesome. Well, we're looking forward to connect with you on the 18th. What we're doing for all registered participants on March the 26th in the evening at 6:30, we're doing a virtual networking event. It's really like a pre-conference gathering virtually with all the registrants. So I'll be sending you that along with all the other registrants. They'll be getting the link to that. So I invite you to, it's kind of like the pre-kickoff to the conference, if you will, is virtual. Where you can even get a sneak preview to meet some of the business owners that will be there that day. I just want to say thank you for being a part of the shift. We're talking about shifting from one season of our life, shifting to another. It's so many shifts that you've gone through in your life, and I appreciate you sharing and being transparent on today. Again, for those that's just learning about Unlock 2026 Business Conference, it's all going down on Saturday, April the 18th. Registration ends on March 18th. It ends on March 18th. I have to give a head count to the catering company. There are no walk-ins at the door that day. We're not doing any ticket sales at the door. So if you want to be a part of this, you definitely want to reserve your seat by March the 18th. Mr. Hunter, any final words you would like to share?
I did want to mention my mentor's mentor. His name is Clint Lewis. Mm-hmm. And one thing he said when my mentor was struggling in the insurance business, he mentioned to him that the business that you're in is not you're not in the business until the business gets inside of you. And so if you think about, it doesn't matter what the industry is, we're in the people business. And our job and our goal is to bring people home to our Father. Right? Whether it's sales, whether it's communication, no matter what it is, our primary goal is to take someone's hand and hand it to our Father, and glorify God's kingdom through whatever it is, whatever talents He gave you, and you want to explore those talents to the fullest.
Absolutely, walk in your gift. Don't give up. Don't give in, Mr. Hunter. Don't go anywhere. But for everyone else, we're going to see everybody at the top. Goodbye for now.
All right.